morning, students. Welcome to the session. As we are discussing the English subject, you know that. So we are discussing English subject for first language, that is of 9th standard, and the lesson we are discussing is Unit 8 from Prose section, that is the storyteller. So today's period is the 5th session. As in the previous session we have discussed up to the paragraph 34 paragraphs we have discussed regarding this storyteller lesson, children. So please open your textbook, follow the paragraph and understand the explanation and also the meaning of the lines. I hope you are listening with the textbook. Okay, children. So where in the previous period we have discussed, that is 34th paragraph, Bertha, the girl, is allowed to walk once in a week in the Princess Park as she was good, and where she got medals for her goodness, that is 3 medals what we discussed, one for obedience and one for punctuality and one for good behavior. So let's see 35th paragraph. Were there any sheep in the park? Were there any sheep in the park? Demanded Cyril. So the small boy, after listening the story by the bachelor, he questioned that were there any sheep in the park? Why this question arises in the mind of Cyril? Because he questioned the aunt regarding the sheep, where it was driven to other field, and where the aunt was not satisfied or not able to answer that question of the Cyril. So similar, in the same manner, he is going to questioning the bachelor. So answer, what is the answer? That is 36th paragraph. No, said the bachelor, there were no sheep. Why weren't there any sheep? Once again, suddenly the question which is not expected by the bachelor, Cyril questioned why weren't there any sheep, came the inevitable question arising out of that answer. The aunt permitted herself a smile which might almost have been described as a grin. So inevitable which was not expected. So when this question was asked by the boy, the aunt smiled widely. So here grin means wide smiley. Meaning right, the children, word meanings which are given in the glossary. So word means grin, G-R-I-N. Grin means to smile widely. To smile widely. Thinking that the bachelor is not able to or unable to answer the question. There were no sheep in the park, said the bachelor, because the princess mother had once had a dream that her son would either be killed by a sheep or else by a clock falling on him. For this reason, the prince never kept sheep in his park or a clock in his palace. But the bachelor answered the question very beautifully, and which is going to be creating interesting listening the story. He said, no, there were no sheep because the princess mother had a dream that the son, that is her son, will going to die because of the sheep or by falling of a clock. So he mentioned there that is the prince never kept sheep in his park or a clock in his palace. Next paragraph, 40 paragraph. The aunt suppressed a gasp of admiration, where the aunt thought that he is not able to answer. After getting this answer by the bachelor, she suppressed and also she admired, okay, of this answer. Was the prince killed by a sheep or by a clock? Asked Cyril. He is still alive, so we can't tell whether the dream will come true, said the bachelor unconcernedly. Anyway, there were no sheep in the park, but there were lots of little pigs running all over the place. What color were they? Once again the question. So here the description of the pigs, which was told by the bachelor, that is there were lots of little pigs running in that place, that is a park. So black with white faces, white with black spots, black all over, grey with white patches, and some were white all over. So 19th question in C2 main. If you turn the exercise, there C2 main question, that is the first A question. How did the bachelor describe the pigs in the park? For that question, you have to write the description of pigs, that is black with white faces, white with black spots, black all over, grey with white patches, and some were white all over. So the storyteller paused to let a full idea of the park's treasures sink into the children's imaginations. Then he resumed. So the bachelor stopped for a while there, let the children get the full idea of the story and of the park. After that, he started the story. Bertha was rather sorry to find that there were no flowers in the park. She had promised her aunts with tears in her eyes that she would not pick any of the kind princess flowers, and she had meant to keep her promise. So, of course, it made her feel silly to find that there were no flowers to pick. Next, 47th paragraph. Why weren't there any flowers? Question by the children. Because the pigs had eaten them all, said the bachelor promptly. The gardeners had told the prince that you could have pigs or flowers, so he decided to have pigs and no flowers. There was a murmur of approval at the excellence of the prince's decision. So many people would have decided the other way. There were lots of other delightful things in the park. There were ponds with gold and blue and green fish in them, and trees with beautiful parrots that said clever things at a moment's notice, and hummingbirds that hummed all the popular tunes of the day. Bertha walked up and down and enjoyed herself immensely, and thought to herself, if I were not so extraordinarily good, I should not have been allowed to come into this beautiful park and enjoy all that there is to be seen in it. So, at this situation, Bertha felt proud to herself as she got a chance, got permission and honor by the prince to walk in that such a beautiful park as she was good. So she thought that if because of the goodness she got that opportunity, and her three medals clinked against one another as she walked, and helped to remind her how very good she really was. Just then, An enormous wolf came prowling into the park to see if it could catch a fat little pig for its supper. When she is enjoying, Bertha enjoying in the park, thinking of her goodness and the beautiful beauty in the park, all of a sudden an enormous wolf came jumping, running towards the park and to catch the little pigs for its supper. What color was it? Asked the children amid an immediate quickening interest. Mud color all over with a black tongue and pale grey eyes that gleamed with unspeakable ferocity. The first thing that it saw in the park was Bertha. Her pinafore was so spotlessly white and clean that it could be seen from a great distance. Bertha saw the wolf and saw that it was stealing towards her, and she began to wish that she had never been allowed to come into the park. She ran as hard as she could, and the wolf came after her with huge leaps and bounds. She managed to reach a shrubbery of myrtle bushes, and she hid herself in one of the thickest of the bushes. The wolf came sniffing among the branches, its black tongue lolling out of its mouth and its pale grey eyes glaring with rage. Bertha was terribly frightened and thought to herself, if I had not been so extraordinarily good, I should have been safe in the town at this moment. However, the scent of metal was so strong that the wolf could not sniff out where Bertha was hiding, and the bushes were so thick that he might have hunted about in them for a long time without catching sight of her. So he thought he might as well go off and catch a little pig instead. Bertha was trembling very much at having the wolf prowling and sniffing so near to her, and as she trembled, the medal for obedience clinked against the medals for good conduct and punctuality. The wolf was just moving away when he heard the sound of the medals clinking and stopped to listen. They clinked again in a bush quite near him. He dashed into the bush, his pale grey eyes gleaming with ferocity and triumph, and dragged Bertha out and devoured her to the last morsel. I hope you understood this paragraph, children. So, where she was enjoying in that park, all of a sudden, wolf came for its food to catch a pig. Where that wolf noticed this Bertha, she wore a pinafore, that is a loose garment without sleeves, and it could clearly seen it by that wolf, and she ran after seeing that the wolf is coming towards her to catch her, and anyhow she hid herself in little bushes where the wolf was unable to smell because of that smell of the little bushes, and as the wolf was ready to leave that place and to catch the pigs, then all of a sudden the medals clinked and the sound heard by that wolf, and the wolf jumped towards the Bertha into that bushes, and that ate the Bertha, where Bertha was killed and dragged out from that of bushes, where only the few that is of bits of clothing and shoes left. So this was the end of that Bertha, that is the girl, where she at that time thought that because of her goodness it is going to be causing a damage and harm to herself. So she felt very bad of her goodness after this wolf entered to that park. So we will stop here, children. The next period we will discuss the remaining period, remaining paragraph, that is 53 paragraphs we will discuss in the next period. Take care, children.